Welcome back, everybody. You're watching our show Trispective. I am here with my co-hosts Raptor.
Hey guys.
And Crazy Jar.
What's up?
And I am D-Start. Today we're playing Dragon Age 2. We'll be going through all the games in the series, namely the other one, Dragon Age Origins. So we'll begin where all things start, arguably, at the first one, Dragon Age Origins. Made in 2009, done by BioWare. They did Mass Effect, Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, Star Wars The Old Republic, which is the MMO, and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is the old RPG. So we'll talk about our impressions, our lasting impressions from the Dragon Age Origins game. What do you think, Crazy Jar?
Oh, it's a good game, eh? I did enjoy it, but I just didn't like the fact that there was only 3 dragons in a game that has dragons in the name.
That is something that could kill it.
And saying that too, it wasn't even a dragon.
Yeah.
Like, you fight a dragon. The
One
other
dragon.
two is like, one's a god or something, and the second one's a shapeshifter. So,
Which was it?
Plymouth.
Plymouth, yeah,
Plymouth.
I remember her, yeah.
Yeah.
So arguably you only fight one dragon in a game named after an age of dragons.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
And even then, it was like you had to fight it.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't go back and fight it if you wanted to. It was a storyline thing.
Yeah. What about you, Rector?
I went to it expecting the whole conversation system to be great, and that let me down dramatically.
Yeah.
So I have quite a negative feel for it.
Now, my impressions are I really like RPGs. They're my favorite type of games, and I thought it just lacked a lot of depth, and that kind of just let me down, and that's been my lasting impression. I mean, we'll go into all of the other stuff that the game has that lacks in depth, I think. I mean, what do you think about the weapons and armor system, Rector?
I felt they were quite linear. There was clear choices between what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
You know, you get Dragon Bone, which is better than Iron, and you've got specific mage gear, so I didn't feel that it was too unique or great.
Yeah. What do you reckon? Have any opinions on the weapon and armor system?
The weapons are alright, but it was like the armor, they did not put any thought into any of the armors. Once you hit like the top tier, they're all exactly the same. Except like the stats are the same, they just look different.
Oh yeah, true. Well, to me, my lasting impressions from the armor system was one redeeming factor is that they had a fatigue system in it, where like the heavier armors have a higher fatigue, and the higher fatigue you have, the longer your cooldown is on your casting and stuff. So it really they built the armor system as well as with the class system, so like mages would preferably just wear cloth armors because they have less fatigue on them, so you can cast a lot more. But then if you want like the arcane warrior, you'd wear something slightly heavier, but it has not a lot of fatigue on it or whatever, so you can still take damage and fight, but still cast your spells and stuff. So I thought that was one really good redeeming factor from it. And yeah, that was it. What about the inventory? I think the inventory is like pretty bare bones. Like it's standard. There's nothing good or bad about it.
It's stock standard stuff.
Yeah.
There's no thought actually put into it. Just here's your bag, put your stuff in it,
Hard.
away you go.
That's it.
It's the console system as opposed to the PC system where you'd have the little inventory boxes and you have to manage how much space you have.
Yeah,
it's
hard.
the streamlined console version of
It is. What about the combat and magic system? What do you guys think? And the first one.
Magic, I didn't really like. I didn't really like the magic. It was alright, but like I'm not really into magics anyway, so I'm more into the hacking and slashing.
Now, how did that go for you?
I didn't like it because you couldn't button mash.
What do you reckon?
I appreciated the magic system having the friendly fire.
Yeah.
So that when you could cast an AoE spell and end up killing your dudes, it helped balance magic nicely.
Yeah.
And I felt the melee combat was quite spammable. Like I had a pummel which could knock an enemy down and then they couldn't do crap.
Yeah. It was like a stun attack or whatever. I could go here or there with the combat of the original game anyway. It was quite stock standard. It had like the pause tactical thing, and you could like switch between all your different party members, and it makes it easier to micromanage during like a boss fight or whatever, because somebody would be dying and not drinking a potion. So you have to like kind of like a scolding mother go over to them and make them drink a potion or whatever. Yeah, so it was like kind of micromanagey, but it was all good. Like it adds a slight bit of depth to the combat instead of just having one character and just controlling them while the other AI runs around doing retarded things. You can actually tell them what to do. The conversation system, I think, was also really lacking in depth. I'm going to be talking about that constantly. Like, you get all these options to say stuff, but it really doesn't matter because whatever's going to happen is still going to happen. Yeah. Really, I think that's like something that BioWare suffers from. What do you reckon, Rector?
I definitely agree. As someone who played The Witcher, which was a 2 years previous game, and every choice had constant effects where it'd be negative or positive, and coming into this game, it was almost meaningless. You could be very mean to someone, and they would be almost brush you off and be completely nice to you as if it never happened.
Yeah, I thought that was really retarded. What do you reckon, bro?
The conversation system?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like how there's no consequences for anything. You can just be like the complete arsehole, even to the king. Yeah. Back in the days, if you took the king the way you do...
Heads would be rolled.
Heads would be rolling. You would be... Like, and you would not be walking out and he'll be saying, "Here, take this weapon for completing my quest."
That was really weird and stupid. What? I don't know why that. I think that, again, I say it suffers from BioWare syndrome, really. They have this party system that they have, and I think it's a nice effect to have in some RPGs. I actually kind of enjoyed the party system, really. That's ridiculous. Just having a conversation with somebody with blood all over their face.
Yeah. That's what I love about this game. Look, she's splattered.
She's got blood everywhere. Anyway, the party system. And like you could kind of program them slightly in certain ways. This is the first one. You know, I could tell them to what to do at certain times. Like if their health is low or an enemy is doing whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. And you can choose who you want, like unique. Make your party unique to what you want. What do you reckon,
I don't really like it at all. It was almost pseudo turn-based with a lot of micromanaging, so you'd have to constantly pause it yourself and swap to people to do things.
Yeah.
Whereas instead of having a set turn where each person goes, I prefer that, because it's sort of a mismatch, and it started to get quite mixed up and messy when you're fighting a difficult boss or something.
Yeah, well, that goes into the inconsistent difficulty of the game, where you'd be playing normally and just like breezing through everything, and then there'd just be like one tough monster just out of nowhere, and it'd just be like rolling your team, everybody's dead, you're like, what the fuck went on there?
Those are like those specters or whatever.
Yeah, they had
juggernauts.
Like, just out of nowhere, something would just completely
like walk past a gravestone and
fucking beating the tard of your mage or whatever. Like, what the hell? Where did this come from? There's like the difficulty spikes a lot, and that's kind of annoying. You want more of a free flowing, and that kind of goes into like the maps. It's just like a series of like streams, and every time you follow this like linear path, then you go into like this massive pool where it's like a larger section, and you usually fight in that section, and then you follow the next stream to the next pool where you fight or whatever. I think it's very, what was it called, open world corridor games.
But for 2009 that was quite standard.
It
was to be expected.
It was actually. That was alright, but very streamlined, I think. Like, compared to most RPGs at that time, really. It's like streamlining RPGs. And like, if you thought that was streamlined, then you didn't know until you played Dragon Age 2, which is like bare bones RPG.
They just made it console friendly.
What the hell? That's unexcusable. They even streamlined the name and took away like the semicolon thing that they were fucking starting. Like, if you look at all their different systems and stuff in the game, honestly, it's like just got the bare minimum of what you would consider a fucking RPG. It's so annoying. Like, what did you reckon about like the weapons and armor system and shit in this Dragon Age 2?
I haven't really played it that much, but I like them. They actually look different and they feel like a lot better than the
first one was like very tactical, whereas in this one, like they have see, what I think is like they have this real fantasy look to them. They have like no realism at all. There's no dark elements to it all. I think they kind of threw that away from the first one. They're moving on to more fantastical kind of journey or whatever. So the armor's looking like far more jagged but impractical and stuff like that, which isn't a bad thing. I honestly think there is a market for something that's more fantastical and out of there. What do you reckon?
It's sort of I can see it being streamlined a lot more in this game. I'm not sure exactly, but in the first game there was the set bonuses, which felt right because if you have pieces of armor, they all go together as a set, instead of having like weird mismatched things which wouldn't fit together.
Hard. That actually makes a lot of sense. That's why set bonuses are a thing, and I like them. I like set bonuses hard. Inventory again, console. It's pretty much the same as the first one, I reckon.
Streamlined, easy to use. Yeah,
the combat, they changed it up a bit with the combat. I think it's a lot more fast paced.
Yeah, it's a lot
more actiony and stuff. Borderlining on their action adventure, But anyway, it's more actiony and like a lot more blood spurting everywhere. And when you hit, it's a lot more. But I kind of enjoy it. There are a few things that kind of get finicky and annoying while you're doing it, but I kind of enjoy it. I actually do like it. What do you reckon?
I felt like it sort of suffered in the way of it's trying to live up to that time period. It seems to be a thing with their games. They sort of that was the standard at 2011. More action RPG or action games were coming out, so they wanted to appeal to the mainstream audience and cut away things, especially like the magic not affecting your people anymore. There's no friendly fire.
They took that out.
It's baby's first RPG now.
Hard. The conversation system, I think it's still suffering from BioWare syndrome, where whatever you choose, it doesn't matter. Even if you're being a complete dickhead, you're still fucking going through. Like, if you're gonna fight at the start of that conversation, if there's a fight available, you're going to fight no matter what. Like, even if you choose to be a good cunt or whatever, you're still gonna be fighting and shit, so I hate that. It's dumb, especially for its time. I really hate that. Party system. I guess they kind of improved it in this one. There's more things you can program your party members to do and shit, which I think is really cool. But they didn't really step into new bounds or anything. They didn't make anything fucking fantastical or new or innovative or anything like that. And with maps and location, I think it still suffers from open world corridor syndrome,
Even more so in this. This is
hard.
2011. It's hard. There's bigger games that have came out. Skyrim. You've got The Witcher. Even Fable was like
hard,
quite
but more
big.
Hard.
Whereas this is quite. You see, even in the map in this game right here.
It's literally
very narrow.
Hard.
It's almost like a 2.5D game where you're running to the side, there's a background and a foreground to create depth, but in reality you're still just running one way.
Hard. I think so too. Really terrible. I mean, Dark Souls had the same thing where it was kind of a corridor, open world thing. You had to like run from one way into the... But the thing is that it was like seamless. It was like you could start the game and run from one side to the other and you would make it,
Yeah.
So they like added something more to it or whatever. No, whatever. They just really failed and dropped the ball there. So we'll start our segment that we've called what we want / expect. Now I'll throw that at you, Raktor. What do you want or expect from the upcoming game, Dragon Age Inquisition?
I'm wanting a whole new game. I don't care about their previous failures. I want them to come in and innovate, show like new things. A deep conversation system. There's depth instead of just wandering around in the kiddie section of the pool. They've put you into the deep end. And I would like to see, maybe more depth in the inventory and skills and such.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Crazy General?
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat as Rectal.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they just bring out a whole new game.
Yeah.
Like, something different to what they've done with this. Because it's...
Like, you think it degraded in the second one?
It degraded, it went down. It didn't go up. It wasn't a good sequel.
It wasn't a step forward, it was more of a step sideways, slightly back, actually.
Well, they didn't take 2 steps, they took 3.
Nah, yeah. To me, yeah, I kind of agree with you guys as well. Depth is all they really need. Although I'm not really wanting a complete new game. I think they've got some good, like, groundwork done already. So they can use that to their advantage. All they need to do is add depth to what they've already got, like the armor system. Add more depth to it. Bring the tiers back, and add more depth to that. Make each tier have more in it. Make the skill trees more complex and stuff. It can still be streamlined. Just have more of it. That's all you need to do, and it would instantly be a lot better. I think that's what I really expect of the game.
I almost feel like we want them to stop assuming that we're all idiots and we actually understand how to play games.
Yeah.
So less streamlining, give us some more features and control back. And,
I saw one thing that they added jump, because we watched some of the footage.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
A revolutionary jump.
You gotta already change the game just by adding jump.
Well, you could, they could add into the, complexity of how you fight. Because if you have a jump, now you have jump attacks and shit like that. It does add complexity in a certain way. And, if you're adding a jump in, does that mean, are they going to add platforming in it?
Oh, God.
Because why would you need jumping? You know, are they going to expect you to jump over certain things or whatever?
No, please don't.
I don't find that necessarily bad. I mean, one of my favorite RPGs, Dark Souls, has jumping in it in a limited manner, and it's not used that you have to jump platformer style. It just means certain sections of the game is blocked off, and you just have to jump over a small section of a bridge or whatever. It doesn't add too much, but it breaks the style of play. Instead of just running from A to B, sometimes you have to kind of stop and think shit, I have to actually make a jump here. I can't just run constantly. I think it adds mechanically it adds a nice break between just running between fights and killing people. So I think that's something decent, at least, that they've added. And they've got better graphics. That graphically looks a lot better.
That had to be done. It's next gen.
They
can't brag about their magic graphics because it's expected of them.
That is so true. You can't expect to get recognition of something that you're supposed to do. Look at the cool new graphics. But it's next gen consoles. Exactly. Of course you had to do that.
Wanting praise for stuff that you shouldn't get praise for.
Exactly.
Credit where credit's due, not when it's fucking expected. Yeah.
Because you said so.
It looks like they have the whole tactical combat. They're really working on that. I think it was reminiscent of Divinity when I was watching it. It's a lot stop-start. It's not turn-based, but it's a lot more stop-start, pausing the combat a lot more. Yeah. Instead of more just running in hack slashing like in this one. Yeah. I think people complained a lot that the combat in this one was far too actiony, and they wanted something more intricate and complex. So they added in a new tactical thing where you have to think more about what you do or whatever. What do you reckon?
The real question is if it's going to be artificial complexity, where it's micromanagey and tedious, or if there's actually going to be some actual depth, which is a concept that keeps coming up a lot. We're looking for a depth in RPGs, because this is what they're known for. You've got Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, these are big, deep games.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, even there.
And I think they've been in a little decline recently. They made Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and everybody's kind of excited about what they're going to be doing. And then from, Mass Effect 2 onwards, everything's been downhill for them. Dragon Age 2, nobody liked it. Mass Effect 3 had like a massive fallout with its ending and shit, and they haven't really made much besides an MMO after that. So now Dragon Age Inquisition, I think this is like kind of like the last straw for people. If they don't do this Dragon Age very well, they're gonna lose a lot of credibility in like their RPG making skills or whatever. So I think, in summary, we think the only thing we want and expect from this game is depth. And if it doesn't deliver on that, then it's not going to be a very good game. It's just going to be a rehash of the second one.
There's consequences for your actions, man.
Yeah, hard. Depth. So, we have reached the end of our show. Thank you guys for watching. If you like what we're doing here and want to see more, please subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter. And tell us, what do you guys think should be the new standard of the RPG genre? Put that in the comment section or email us at irrelevantsidequest@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching and take care.